Scuffed cast. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun.
But,
I purposely look for 1v1s right now in hoops. I'm in GC2 in hoops. If I can get in a 1v1, I'm like, or a rule 1, I'm like, please, thank you. Let my teammate carry me.
Right, you need to breathe for a second. That's insane though. GC2. That's awesome that you've climbed the ranks.
Well, yeah, that's
awesome.
the
You
content
finally
for
got
this
into
week.
GC, man. Let's go. That's so sick.
Shut up.
Stop.
Hey guys, welcome to the 9th official episode of the Scuffcast, co-hosted by myself, Widow, and also Neato.
Hi. Oh my god, I can't believe we're almost at episode 10. When you said 9, I was like, yo, what? Okay. But we're also joined by our fellow SSG members, Trihouse
Hello there.
and Sir Classy.
Yo.
Yo.
No Veeds today.
no Veeds today. He wasn't feeling well, so I hope everybody out there, including Veeds, who isn't feeling well this winter season, and hope that they feel better. But the winter split is in full force. We want to recap on what went down for North American teams and what makes those North American teams so good, or the EU teams. We want to talk about that a little bit. It depends. We'll have to see. We also want to touch on the walls we've hit in our careers as content creators and how we overcame them. And later, in true Thanksgiving fashion, the cast crew here wants to share what we're thankful for. But first, SSG went to the losers bracket, so maybe North America isn't as good as we think they were. But how do you guys feel about that? First of all, who watched it? Who was able to catch it live?
I did. They felt out of sync, and that's me coming from like the most unknowledgeable on like what exactly it was that went wrong. They just felt kind of out of sync, but I wouldn't even like put it on SSG completely. V1 just showed up. They were playing out of their minds. They've been playing so good with their new roster. So right. I think V1 just showed up and that they really wanted it, and it was just a day where, they were the better team. However, I will say with what you said, you were like, maybe NA isn't the best. I'm on the Rettle side of the conversation of I think this actually starts the argument for like NA being even better, because it's not like one team you can be expected to win it all. It's any team in NA that can win at any time. So
I agree.
Diversity.
True.
Well, and this is something that I think a lot of people overlook whenever you're in like competitive aspects, but like version 1 also had a game before they got to play SSG 2, which is like, in my opinion, anytime I've ever played in a competitive tournament, obviously, like I'm not a pro player, but any like cash prize tournament I've ever played in, I do really, really well, and then as soon as we get like a long bye or something like that, I think 75% of the time I've lost right. That's when I get eliminated from the tournament, is after I have like a long bye round. And that was Space Station's first match of the day, and that's just like, that's never ideal to go into. But like, I don't know. That for me, that's a contributing factor to it. And perhaps they weren't even worried about version 1.
Yeah, I mean, I like the double elimination, but I think a lot of people put a bad connotation on losers bracket, like when in reality it gives it's like you said, like they were seeded higher, they didn't have that warm-up game, so they were expected to do better, but they have that second chance, and they did really well in the first
losers
couple
bracket.
Rounds of the losers bracket. So
yeah, 72 PC they 3-0'd,
honestly,
and then
to lose one game against a team like Widow said that was playing on their marks that day, I don't blame Space Station. I wouldn't blame any team.
I did watch their X set, the Space Station versus X set. I mean, they won 3 games to 1, but I think every single game went to overtime or something like that.
Wow.
It was like they were. Like Alpha Kep's a homie too, but Alpha Kep was popping off. Like he was, he was kind of hard carrying there, and so even though they won 3 games to 1, it seemed like a really, really close series in the losers bracket. And I'd also like to mention that NRG also is in the losers bracket, right now. So it's not like Space Station Gaming was the only top 4 team to get thrown down to losers. I mean, the Peeps were in losers bracket. Sonics were in losers bracket.
They're all losers, basically.
They're all losers.
Classic said it.
I kind of miss the Swiss format, the double elimination. I'm like, man, we don't get nearly as many games. We don't get nearly as many games. I mean, maybe we do get the same amount, but I don't know.
Swiss was a lot. Like for me personally, it was just a lot. Like, and I like that. I like a lot of Rocket League, but I also like to know what's going on. you know, like I like to keep up with stuff. So like when I see the bracket formed out like this, I can understand stuff.
This is a lot more organized.
It's just it's a learning curve, though. I could get used to it. Yeah, I wouldn't hate it if they brought it back. You know.
Yeah, like we can see right now where the matchups are going to go.
I think that's worth pointing out to what happened this whole thing too is there's a bunch of teams who got used to a Swiss format for like an entire, season and things like that. And then they're switching to double elimination and not playing off the bat. And then suddenly they're in the losers. Like it was a big shift. And I really think it'll be more evened out next week. I think this week was just awkward. Because it's teams, playing against teams, like the seating for it's different than it was in Swiss and the setup for it's different than it was in Swiss and all of this. So I think it'll even out. I really do. Yeah, I think it was just an awkward first week, but I think it showed all the potential and all the teams that are out there. People are stepping up. People want this.
Right. And the version 1 game with SSG, like as they went to a game, they went to game 5 and the last game went to OT, like they were almost there and people are still like, I guess like laughing at them simply because, Redos came out here and started poking people, but
yeah, he did.
He got under a lot of people's skin. But
oh my God.
Did we talk about that last podcast?
We did.
Yeah,
we did talk about
okay.
that.
We did.
He went because this is like the aftermath of it. The fact that they got sent to the losers bracket and people kept doubling all over the timeline.
His tweet was really funny about it. Didn't he tweet out something like, I guess you can't play like an EU team against NA team.
Right. He just brought it full circle and he just kept.
Yeah, he didn't even care.
Right.
No,
right. Yeah, he's obviously just kidding around, but like he does it aggressively. People take it really seriously.
You want to know what I am most mind screwed about over this whole weekend? Speaking of people talking all over the internet, please tell me you guys have seen the armies of Reddit and Twitter and all of them tearing Illusion apart for breaking a rule 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I just skip over it.
Dude, I have definitely like this kind of like rule 1 like culture has made me kind of step back from the idea of having rules in general. I used to be playful about it, like haha, no, rule 1 is this, haha. But now people are like, yo, like getting really upset at him and like all those stuff on the timeline you see where people are like, yeah, wow, this guy is breaking a rule 1 so he doesn't lose this like thousands of dollars in this tournament and like he's a bad guy, like what?
No, there are people writing paragraphs about how he's unsportsmanlike and they should get some sort of penalty and how it's not fair to the other team because he wasn't being honest with them by breaking the rule 1. And I'm like,
surely they're joking.
You know what's no they're not though. No, there are actual people who are dead serious about it, tearing him apart.
I think that's just
and they're from Reddit.
I like Reddit, but there are some people that get really aggressive like that. Those aggressive opinions, like very one-sided, and it's like there can be some sort of leeway, especially at the height of the game, like the esport, literally a professional setting. Like we can forget about those, literally like just imaginary rules that we've set in place because the community. It does hold some value. I do agree. Like it's fun to do that, even in ranked whatever. But in a like professional tournament, I think anybody can. Yeah,
Justin
agree.
broke it during Worlds. Like
I
think it's
think
fine.
they're forgetting they're stuck on these rule 1s and rule 2s and rule tools. Sorry, rule twos. And they're forgetting the actual rules in like Rocket League esports of like not throwing a game and playing to the best of your ability. You know what I mean?
Right,
There's a
right.
reason teams can't forfeit. There's a reason teams can't just drive in donuts on the field like when they're losing 8-1. You know what I mean? Like there are actual rules that people are following. I don't know. I just
Now these kids are like, guys, I don't want to break the rule 1. What if I get death threats
I'm
on
never
Reddit?
gonna stick in one again on my stream. I'm never gonna stick in one again. Like that is just the most ridiculousness.
Honestly, that has, like I said earlier, like it's totally like turned me off from the idea of doing it anymore and like wanting to uphold it because people get so worked up about it, and it's not something that's an actual, like I'll say this, it's not something that's an actual rule, and people will be like, how dare you say that it's not an actual rule, you know, stuff like that. I think it's ridiculous.
My favorite thing
just
is when
play that
people
by
get
ear.
so upset
To each
when you
their
break a
own.
rule 1 and then they're like, karma got you there, buddy, after you like freaking break
Right.
it.
It's definitely depends on the setting. Like
Yeah.
if you're big chilling with your
That's
friends
funny.
and you're playing casuals, or you're even just like not taking things too seriously. I get it. It maybe it's a perfect opportunity. Maybe you know your teammate is really good in 1v1 situations, and it's and you're just like let him have it, whatever. But
I purposely look for 1v1s right now in hoops.
yeah.
I'm in GC2 in hoops. If I can get in a 1v1, I'm like, or a rule 1, I'm like, please, thank you. Let my
Dude,
teammate
that's-
carry me.
right, you need to breathe for a second. That's insane though. GC2. That's awesome that you've climbed the ranks.
Well, yeah, that's
awesome.
the
You
content
finally
for
got
this
into
week.
GC, man. Let's go. That's so sick.
Shut up.
Stop.
Yeah, I said this is a little bit of a tangent from what we're talking about, but yes, I originally said that getting SSL this season in hoops wasn't going to be possible because not even the top 100 players in hoops are SSL. But then I took a step back and thought, what a forehead I would be as a hoops main if I didn't at least try my best to get SSL the first season it's out for hoops. And so I'm like hard calming, like ignoring chat. Like I'm about to turn off alerts here soon. Like it's going to get sweaty.
Have you thought about playing ranked off of stream?
I thought
Or do you
about
need
it.
that stream environment?
That's-
Is that something that you
That's the
have
last
grown used to?
resort. Is like I'm doing it off stream, maybe recording it. Like I don't know, no face
Right.
cam. But yeah, we're
So,
going.
like-
It's like full sweat comms and stuff.
I believe in you.
We still got like
I don't.
120 more to go.
Okay,
No, I
Classic
believe-
can
I
be
believe.
your bad cop. You can use him to prove him wrong.
It's gonna be
but,
next to impossible, but there's a chance.
dude,
There's
if
a
it
chance.
happens, oh, that'll be a glorious moment, especially if it happens on the stream.
I'm also
sure.
encouraging stream sniping a little bit more recently because I'm like, I have to be able to beat pretty much any team that's could be made from my chat in order
Yeah.
to get SSL anyways. So it's like I might as well, if you can handle the pressure of stream sniping me, like go for it.
Right, you have an
'Cause-
advantage because a lot of people get nervous when they're on stream.
Yeah, normally I hard cut that
noticed.
shit out, but now
I
I'm like,
think
If they're not-
everyone
I don't
should
want to
start
wait 30 minutes for
encouraging it.
queues. Yeah, I don't want to wait
Like-
30 minutes for queues. So it's like,
Yeah,
let's go.
I used to get really upset. Like, and I betcha there, you could go back in my VODs and I actually like got really upset at this person because I had assumed that they like stream sniped me. And then they were like, it was actually an accident, blah, 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 and whatever. And it was out of their character as well. So like I was also having a bad day, blah, blah, blah. But I took it out on that stream sniper, alleged stream sniper. And
Yeah.
I actually sent a message afterwards and I was like, yo, dude, I am really sorry for doing that. I'm never going to assume people are sniping me again. I'm not even going to mention it. Like, and I learned a lesson because it's like, in Rocket League, like my chat defended me, obviously love them to death. They're like, you have a reason to be upset. Like they have an advantage because, they're taking advantage of your stream and all this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, in Rocket League, especially if it's ranked, right, and somebody snipes you, they're in your same rank, you should essentially like have a chance to beat them or whatever.
Yeah,
But they don't really have a
exactly.
huge advantage over you aside from knowing how much boost you have, maybe.
Unless
And there's a
they're
little bit of delay.
underranked in that game mode. So like they don't play ones, but they're SSL.
Right, if they're smurfing, right? But this person wasn't like the one that I had, attacked. This person was clearly not smurfing, and they were. It was a good game and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, they're still part of my community and stuff. And I think it's because I reached out and I was like, yo, I'm sorry. But at the same time, I think I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting topic because in other games, like stream sniping is literally it's called stream sniping because people can snipe you from anywhere. They see where you are in your game and then they snipe you literally because you so in Rocket League it's not like that. So I could totally understand as long as I think the issue comes, like you said, if they're a smurf and they're coming into your games to intentionally
That's
beat you
used
on
to what
stream.
happened in hoops. I would get people that when I was like champ 1 in hoops because they were like GCs in every other game mode, but then they would be like, oh well, I haven't played hoops in forever, let's just shit on Trihouse's MMR. Mm-hmm. But now I'm like, please give me your MMR, shitiots. Like,
right, because you're in a high
let
rank.
me
That
farm
makes
you.
sense.
I remember telling you guys how like when I first started playing Rocket League, it was on stream, and I did all my placements and over like the first couple days of like learning my mechanics. So like I got put in bronze 1 and everything. And so the worst thing in the world, because I was trying to like, the reason I didn't play ones for like another year after that was because I tried to, obviously get out of bronze, and ones like from the second I got better. So it was a couple months in, I was like, hey, I know how to play Rocket League now, I should actually try to do these games. But I was in bronze. So what people would do in sniping is just make new accounts because they'd automatically go up against me.
Right.
And I couldn't win a game because people would just make new accounts to go up against the bronze because they
You
were
were on
bronze.
Xbox, right?
Yeah. So people
Xbox,
could
you
just
can
make
make accounts really
unlimited.
easy.
You could make unlimited accounts, and I just had people repeatedly doing it over and over again. It's the worst. But nowadays, I actually use the whole stream sniping thing to get people to stop asking to 1v1 me in chat. Because I'll play a lot of casual ones all stream, and anytime somebody's like 1v1 me, I'm like, okay, snipe me. And either they'll try or they're like, oh, I can't, and they shut up.
Right.
Like that's the thing. I'm just like, hey, I'm playing ones right now. I'm not gonna add more people to my friends list. You want to 1v1 me? Snipe me. It's a
use
quick
it to your
response
advantage.
instead of being like no or whatever.
Right.
So
but yeah, sorry, I got us off on a tangent there.
No, you're good. Tangents are good. I think we can like go into the next conversation. I wanted to kind of talk about like everybody's opinion, and we have a little bit of a obviously right now it's a majority NA. Veeds couldn't join us, but we have the opinion of one fellow from EU. So I wanted to talk about just your opinions on how you think is the most effective way to rank up in Rocket League, and what steps would you take to do that? And we can start with Classy if you want to give us some tips and tricks.
Yeah, for sure. Learn how to flip reset for one. Blame your
The
teammates.
classy flick.
Be toxic in chat. And stream snipe people. And let me think. There's one more very important thing. Oh yeah.
No, somebody cut him off.
Nah, I'm messing. I don't know. I think people with a lot of mechanics get flamed a lot because they're flip resetting around and don't really know how to like position themselves and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But me as a coach, I see these people all the time, and I know that like it's easier to get good at positioning than it is to like learn mechanics. So if you already have a lot of mechanics, but you're stuck, like hard stuck in some rank, really just try your best, even though it's not the funnest thing for people that are highly mechanical, to focus on like game sense and positioning. It's really quite easy if you just get into it. So
yeah, I can see what you mean. Like it's not as technical, and sometimes these people love that challenge of it being really technical. And yeah, I've noticed now that I'm starting to climb up into champ and beyond. Like I have to be a little bit more reserved and really focus on what other people are doing on the field in order for me to actually succeed, even though I really want to go for a dribble. And I'm a ones player, so at heart, so like I want to take plays like all by myself all the time, and I have to like really hold myself back. And that's what I get caught up in. My muscle memory wants to do the fancy stuff, and it gets me in trouble. So yeah, I totally get what you mean by that.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are the mechanics people should focus on, Classy? Like if you were gonna give like a mechanic to get good at, that would actually help you in rank pretty immediately. Which
Fast
looks
aerials.
like the
I'd say, but like, don't learn
Yeah.
fast aerials if you don't know how to freaking aerial to begin, because that's just gonna screw you up. But I actually meet a lot of like gold threes and whatnot that don't really know how to half flip, and I feel like those types of
I was about to
things
say that.
are really important.
half flips and fast aerials.
Yeah, those
I didn't
two.
know how to fast aerial until I was Diamond 3.
Damn.
Legit. I didn't because people said fast aerial to me, and I assumed they meant just fly fast forehead. Like I didn't realize like the fast aerial is actually, it's like a mechanic.
That's why I call
because
them double
every-
jump aerials rather than fast aerials or whatever.
But then people assume, but I thought a double jump aerial where you just like jump and then don't hold boost the entire time. I thought that was fast aerial, and then it wasn't until I did a specific training pack where you literally couldn't. I thought this shot was unsavable. I was like, there is no physical way to get your car from point A to point B to save this shot. And then they were like, you have to fast aerial, and I was like, I'm fast aerialing, and they're like, no, you're not.
Well, here's one thing. Here's one thing. Like, when I'm coaching, I test people first. I'm like, all right, so you know how to half flip? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, show me a fast aerial. And then they do a fast aerial where they double jump and everything. And I'm like, your fast aerial is slow as man. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my
So-
god, that's actually a
slowest
funny
fast
story. The when I learned how to fast aerial, I had to have been probably in Diamond 1 or something, in most of my modes, and I don't know how it came about, but Lawler said, yeah, I'll review one of your replays, and he was live, and so I gave him one of my replays, and Lawler was reviewing my replay. I didn't save a shot, and he saw me jump up or something, and he was like, what is that? And he went back and he rewound it, and he saw me jump up for something like really lousily, like it was just a really bad aerial. He's like, do you do that every time you jump? And he like fast forwards to the next time I aerial, and the next time I aerial, and the next time I aerial, and I was just like, oh god, like dying in my chair. And he was like, he pauses the replay, he's like, go look up how to fast aerial right now. If you don't know, because like you clearly don't. I started cracking up, but yeah, he shaved me pretty bad for that, but it was funny.
Fast
And
aerial.
I learned how to fast aerial after that. I definitely don't know. It was a valuable lesson I learned. And half flipping was one of those things that I learned how to do after I started streaming. So I'm 1,200 hours in this game. I don't know how to half
you
flip.
said the half flip
And
is.
somebody, like, basically every single day in chat, do you know how to half flip? Do you know how to half flip? Do you know how to half flip? And I would be like, no, I'm trying, but my muscle memory is so ingrained in me. Like, oops, my screen just kind of blacked out. Can you guys still hear me?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We can hear you.
No, but yeah, my muscle memory just beats me every time on those things, so I have to really like practice it out and hammer it out, and eventually I got the hang
Well,
of it. And
you don't
I'll
necessarily
half flip
need
now.
a half flip. Oh, sorry. I was.
Yeah, I agree.
was being,
I agree.
like, if you watch a pro match, you're not surprised. I'm not
Sometimes.
surprised if they don't half flip once the entire match, because
You can get
they're-
around it, for sure.
yeah, because the way that they do the rotations, they're like, they basically never make a big enough mistake to need to half flip.
Right.
But
gotta
at
have
the lower
super
levels, I
solid
feel like
rotations though. Yeah.
yeah, but at the lower levels, a half flip is like you're constantly finding yourself like, oh, that was a bad read. Oh crap, half flip. Like, do air roll shots count as beginner mechanics? Is that like a mechanic? Or?
They're a little bit higher up. They're like
Really?
Intermediate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it depends on how
Because-
much power you're getting, because like what I see a lot when I'm doing my coaching and whatnot is people don't like power shot, where they like jump, boost to the ball, and it's in the air, and then they do a dodge. That's a sort of beginner mechanic that I really recommend to people.
Just a power shot? And
Just
what do
straight
you
up a
define
power
as a
shot,
power
yeah.
shot? As like where you flip at the last second, like right at the point of contact with the ball?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I didn't realize that's one of the notes on the loading screen is flip at the last second for the most power or something on the ball. And I
Yeah.
read that like 3 months ago and was like, wait a minute. I knew
Nani?
that. I knew it, but I didn't really know it. And then I started trying to implement that in my gameplay. And you get much more oomph if you like hold on until like right at the point of contact. You can like really yeet that ball if you get if you do it right.
The person that taught me how to hit a ball accurately and correctly was Ranny. One day he came into my stream and he was like, "Here's this training pack. Try and focus on not flipping into the ball, but like using your flip to hit the ball or whatever." And he literally like through Twitch chat taught me how to hit the ball.
Which training pack did he give you? Just
Was it striker training?
Yeah, it was strength and accuracy. Yeah, it's the one I use every single day. It's my open edge training, and I recommend it to everybody. And it's my favorite
Best
thing.
training pack in the world.
Yeah,
Biddle's progression's the one I've used, but I'll give that one a try.
Strength and
Biddle's
accuracy.
progression is like.
I don't remember who it's by. I know that
It's by Vince.
because I always get it confused with Iowa because he makes the wall and ground air dribbles.
Yeah, no. It's honestly, it got me from gold to diamond. So
Yeah, I
Just
think
how to hit
power
the ball
shots
correctly.
Probably are
I still can't do all of them.
Moss
I
important.
still can't do all of them. It's something to work on.
Yeah,
it's a great
something
training
that
pack.
I literally did I still do if I'm playing Rocket League every single day as part of my warm up because you can never practice open nets enough from any part of the field everywhere, especially for 1v1s. And I think that goes back to the half flip conversation where, like you said, if you're really high level, you don't really need them. But when I got a coaching session from Burge, he really taught me that it's not really about what you should do, but also like what are the limits of the game, and like removing all the moments where you're blacking out, essentially, where you don't know what to do with your car, and like making your car an extension of your brain. So like having the ability to do that, knowing that it's an ability that you can do in the game, and having that under your belt just helps
easily.
you at any moment, because you could potentially need to do that. And if your brain knows how to do it, then you're one step ahead of the opponent, you know? So just like little tiny things like that. And that's why I really like 1v1s, because it kind of like details your gameplay in every sort of way, and recoveries especially, because you find yourself in really twisted positions sometimes, and you have to get back fast, or you have to do certain things. But yeah, I agree. There's different ways to kind of approach the ranked system. It's just that I think a lot of people have this idea that everybody starts Rocket League and starts playing ranked and starts trying to grind and has 8 hours a day to play the game and to grind. And then, so there's a lot of people that are like, why do you have so many hours and you're only this rank? And then I have to explain like every time, I don't actually really play that much ranked. I don't grind ranked. I'll play a couple of games, and as soon as I get to the point that I want to, I'll stop. Like, I'm not somebody that'll like keep on going, and that's something that I have to force myself to do, because eventually I get to the point where I'm just winning as many games as I'm losing. But that's the grind, you know? But I think a lot of people don't don't realize that there's different mindsets to go into ranked.
Yeah. The number one thing that I would recommend for people that are just solely trying to rank up and get as good and whatnot as fast as they possibly can is 1v1ing someone who is slightly better than you and who's smacking you pretty much every single time. And if you do this like every week, where you pick someone out, you're like, yo, do you want to do a few 1v1s this week? Let's say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you do like a best of 5 or something. You might get smacked Monday and Wednesday, but Friday you're going to start to get good. Really just getting crushed by someone in a private match over and over is really just going to speed you up. And even if you don't win, when you enter ranked afterwards, you're going to be killing it. And that's what happens a lot with coaching sessions when people are trying to get good at 1v1s. I love smacking people in 1v1s, and it's especially fun when they're, plat 1 or something. But they always tell me afterwards, they're like, dude, I just played ranked, and I got like 12-1 on the scoreboard against this guy in ranked, like first game after the coaching session. And I was like, yeah, dude, that's because we played like 3 1v1s. And that's literally all it takes. You don't really need like analysis, etc. Well,
I think it's almost like a brain prep. I've tried to explain to people like 1v1s for me at this point aren't like, I like 1v1s. I have ranked goals for 1v1s, but it's for me, it's like practice, but with a different play style every time. So every single time I'm like learning a little bit about one person and how they play, but that certain play style might come out in a different ranked mode on somebody else, and I've seen it before. So in those like split moments where I have to make a decision, I'm like, okay, this guy has been challenging everything. I can flick it over him or whatever. So it's like a training ground almost. I think of 1v1s in that sense, where that person is somebody I can learn from. So I think that putting those students or those people that are lower ranked in those games, like they start paying like super attention to you specifically, and you're a really skilled player, right? So then they go into ranked and they're playing against people near their rank, and they can pretty much predict everything that they're doing because they're not as unpredictable as you are. It's one of those things where it's like almost like a placebo, where they're just hyper focusing now, and that's kind of how you have to play ranked all the time. You have to be sweaty all the time. So that's why I don't play ranked a lot, because it's like I like to relax and play Rocket League. I don't know. It's a part of me just kind of like vibes and chill. So
I've had a few streams where I've been playing 1v1s. I mostly play 1v1s on stream, and I'll come up against someone and he's like, yo, I just played you in 1v1s. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, you're that dude that smacked me like hella hard. And then I'll enter a private match. And then all of a sudden, for like an hour and a half, I've just been losing to the same guy repeatedly in a private match, because I just get super addicted to playing someone who's just melting me in 1v1s, because I just want to beat him so bad.
Right.
And then when I jump into ranked after that, then it's just like, oof. It's super easy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's playing people that are better than you is the strat. Yesterday I got one match in hoops where me and my teammate Georgie, we went against I think it was Retna and No, This Is Patrick. They're both top 100 hoops players. They must have been waiting in queue for like 20 minutes. And we went against them and we frickin' won. By the skin of our teeth and OT, we won. And firstly, I'll say when you beat somebody that's like 100 plus MMR above you, you feel like a god. And then we played them again later and they beat us pretty bad. That hurt. But the match after we beat them was a cakewalk. It was like, after we were able to do that, the next match, I was like, I think we were like 5 goals up on these people, and I was like, why aren't they forfeiting? Like, damn. It was like when you play people that are better than you and you really try to win, you get so much better. You play faster. It's like, it's the strat. That's why I think viewer tournaments, or that's why I like doing viewer tournaments, because it gives people a chance to like really play people that are above their rank, because it's kind of easy to get stuck in like a lull of playing people that are your rank, and so you're used to playing at a certain pace, because you're not, like you don't have the excuse to play faster. It's like you don't want to, you're like trying to play with your teammate at a certain pace or trying to do this or that. It's like in viewer tournaments and stuff, you can really, like, you have your permission to kind of play like at a different speed.
Well, that's what I say to people when I do ones tourneys, because everyone's always like, I'm probably not going to join. I'm gold and I'm going to get clapped by a GC or a champ or something like that. And I just go, what's wrong with that? I was like, you're not playing ranked. I was like, you're not worried about your MMR. Take it as a learning experience. You're getting to play people who are better than you, and it's not affecting you at all. You get to see what it's like.
Right, exactly.
And it typically gets people to join, because like in any tournament, is because it's a way they can play people who are better and not have to worry about it tanking them.
Yeah, I always tell them it's a great place. Right, it's a great place to learn mutual respect. That's how I get through every single one of my 1v1s. I turn chat off, first of all, so that there are no assumptions made from people by how they quick chat. And then I always have mutual respect for people, like, especially if I'm in rank. Like, okay, I'm ranked up against this person. I'm going to assume they're my rank, no matter what, unless time goes on and I realize, okay, this person probably isn't my rank. But in those situations where I do viewer 1v1s or I do viewer tournaments, like, I can have those matches where I'm up against people that are clearly like a lot higher ranked than me in ones, but I can have a lot of respect for them and try and learn something from it, like Widow said.
Boom. You freaking said it there, Neato. That's the number one thing for 1v1s. You gotta respect your opponent.
Yep. It's just, and I mean, in any game mode, for sure. I mean, just because you add people doesn't mean the respect dissipates, but I think 1v1s really shows you, like, yeah, you're going to mess up, and you're going to mess up really bad. And they might also, like, it's just one of those things where it's a give and take sort of thing, and you can't let it get to you. There are people who are like, you beat me, and I'm so depressed, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, what? I told you, you're in gold, and I didn't go as hard as I usually do with people in my rank, and and you have to take something from it. You have to learn something from it, and then later they'll come back around, and they'll play me again. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I think people would benefit from just that 1v1 experience, or just with, like Trihouse was saying, people that are higher ranked than you, maybe getting into some private matches and organizing a scrim where your intention is to get beat, which is kind of weird, but at the same time it'll really help round out people's mentalities in gaming, I think.
It humbles you.
For sure. I mean, I think we've all come to moments where we've been humbled, even in our careers, for instance, and just like moments where we have to take a step back and take a deep breath and have to ask ourselves, like, are we doing the right thing? Are we actually gaming for a living? So I wanted to move on to a separate conversation and ask you guys if you've ever had a moment in your content creator career where you felt like you were about to quit and like you almost did.
I don't know. I get it a lot. Not necessarily to like stop streaming in general anymore, but like when I first started streaming, I didn't have a single person I knew who thought it was a good idea. Like not a single one of them. Like I'd been streaming for 3 weeks and I'd finally found like a hobby, that I really, really, really enjoyed. And one of my really good friends at the time was just like, no one wants to watch a 26-year-old Twitch streamer. And so there were definitely a lot of doubts for me at the beginning. And I don't think I'd ever stop streaming, but like during this 1 year challenge and with everything that's happened in 2020, there's definitely been a lot of days where I'm just like, maybe I don't have to stream every day for a year. Or maybe I should just take a break for a while. It gets to you, whether it's, feeling like your content is faltering or inadequate, or like you feel like you've peaked already, or you feel like, I think one of the biggest things that, and I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but maybe you guys can relate as well. Like you'll have like a really, really, really good YouTube video that just like blows all your other ones out of the water. Or you'll have a really, really, really good week on streams of, like the last month when, all the RLCS raids and hosts and things like that. You know what I mean? Like you'll have that really big high of everything just doing so well. And then afterwards, when things go back to normal, what is normal for you, it feels like you're failing. Because you got used to like being at a really high for a while. And that's what it is though. That's what content creation is. Not everything's going to be a 1 million viewed YouTube video, and not every day you're going to have, 45,000 viewers or 800 viewers or 400 or 300, you know what I mean? And there are days that you have to take into account that, again, there's a global pandemic and not everyone's online all the time, or people are going back to school, or maybe this video was like really good to you but it just doesn't really hit to the people and what they're looking for right there at the moment. And it's really easy to feel like you're faltering or you're failing and that maybe it's not worth it. But I think, at least in my opinion, if you can push through those moments, it's always worth it if you love what you do.
Right.
If you love it. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Like,
it takes a lot out of
Yeah,
you.
it's not for everyone, and there are plenty of people who are like, I liked doing it for a while, but there are other things I want to do. Yeah, mine was more speaking to the people who want to stick with content creation and know that that's what they really want to do. It's usually worth it to push through those little down weeks and down days.
Yeah,
Yep.
I haven't felt that way about content creation. Like I've got the down periods where it's like, especially dealing with YouTube. Like YouTube is a fickle hoe. Like
you said it there, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the YouTube algorithm is a little less transparent to me than other platforms, and so I stick with what like I know works now, and my expectations of it are as such. Like, I'm not expecting any of my videos to get 1 million views, but they don't have to get 1 million views. They just have to get like I've got like my quota, and I'm like, this is good, this is okay, this is acceptable. This is worth doing. Especially after coming from TikTok, where it's like TikTok is, I'll get like 15 million views in a month or something, and then on YouTube it's like, well, that video I spent a whole day on got like 4,000 views. It's just like a frame like that. When I think about that stuff, that's not good. That's not good to go down that rabbit hole. But I do that for the community because they want it. But kind of content creator, like we talked about, if you love it, go for it. But like when I was acting, I kind of fooled myself into thinking I actually enjoyed the process of being an actor, when in reality, I didn't. I enjoyed entertaining people. And it took me way too many years to figure that out, because I actually didn't care about 80% of acting. I only liked, and like specifically, I only enjoyed doing comedies because I like making people laugh. And like all my friends were like, they were so deep down the, I want to play this part because it's a juicy part, and it's like it's got all this depth, and I'm like, I'm fine with doing like the basic plays where people laugh, and like something like a community theater would pick. Like I'd be totally down to be in those because people enjoy watching them. And it took me way too long to realize what I actually enjoyed about it, and it's like, so if you don't enjoy like the core component of streaming is trying to entertain somebody. And that is why I enjoy streaming the best out of all the platforms. I enjoy Twitch the most. And so it's like, just identify with what you like the best. What makes you the happiest about that process, and figure out a way to make 80% of the process be the thing you like. Because
that's a really good point.
And like really think about it, because if I had just stopped to think about at all what I liked the most, I could have saved myself. I mean, and I don't regret going down acting or getting my degrees, but yeah, it's like it did cause me a lot of anxiety.
Everybody takes a while to figure themselves out, and it's all a learning process to get to realize that, a lot of people misconstrue, like you said, the point of it all is to entertain people or to make people happy. And a lot of people misconstrue that with just doing the things for other people. You know what I mean? Like, I should do only, you know what I mean? I don't know if that sentence makes sense, but like, they're just like, I should constantly be trying to appeal to what other people want. And that's not it. You should, you said, you should be working on yourself and what you like doing and entertaining people. And it's not the same as just doing what other people want or, doing the big thing that everyone's doing.
I think that the biggest point that Trihouse mentioned was finding out like that why, like, why am I doing this? And I had about, I think it was like 8 months or 9 months into my streaming career. And I went to RLCS and I met a bunch of people, and I started getting really good viewership, and I was getting to the point where I was about to hit partnered, and I was at that point very focused on the numbers and the analytics, and I was just kind of playing Rocket League and making friends, and it was a very casual thing, but I also took it seriously, but I hadn't sat down and figured out the big why. And then I had a moment of where my views kind of went down, and then I took it personally, and the quality of my streams went down, and I stopped streaming as often, and then I started to hate playing Rocket League, and it was like this whole spiral. And this is where I kind of felt like I had this point of, am I gonna go back to working at Starbucks? Am I gonna get to that point where I'm not gonna want to do this anymore? But I took that step back, And I was like, well, why do I like doing this? What is the one thing that I want to get from this? And it was, making people's day, making them happy, whatever, and entertaining, that entertainment factor. But also, like, I wanted to go to school to be a teacher and to teach people and to lead people and to be that sort of figure for people. So I started kind of leaning towards that, and I wanted to teach myself, and I wanted to show people that they could teach themselves too. And so I went down that road, and immediately, I stopped worrying about numbers, and I just started worrying about myself and like what made me happy in this like content creation space, because a lot of it was me just kind of winging it at first. And although it went really well, it started to, I had to start putting in actual work and actually setting goals for myself, realistic goals. But it helped me in the long run. And I still have my down days, but I never think now that I want to go back to doing something else. Like, I want to just continue on the path that I'm on right now. So I'm pretty thankful that I came back around to that realization. But it was pretty rough for a little while. And I think a lot of people can maybe get to that point. But I guess I urge people like that to ask themselves why they started doing it in the first place, or what is something that when they're doing it, like what they like about it, like what Trihouse was saying earlier. I think that's a huge part of like self-motivation, I guess.
Figure out what you like.
Yep.
Really identify it. What make sure you like, and then make sure you like 80% of that process, at least 80%.
Right.
Because like the 20% that is me editing, I'm over that. But 80% of it is still good.
I'm over that. I like that.
It's interesting. You guys all started off on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, starting off on YouTube is a little bit different. Well, I guess it's kind of the same. I don't really know how it is starting off on Twitch, but just from my experience on YouTube, it's a long grind before you start getting anywhere. And yeah, that is how it is for Twitch too. But on YouTube, it's like, for me, it took me about a year and a half before my views went up at all. And as soon as they started going up, they went up big time. And I went from like 2,000 to 3,000 views to like over 100,000 views per video. So speaking of content creator rock bottom, I sort of hit my rock bottom when I was at my all-time high on YouTube, because after like a month of just straight up grinding YouTube, I was sort of posting banger videos for me every single time I posted a video, and that pressure just really built up in my head. And I had a goal of like posting a video every week or so for like a month. And all of a sudden, when I was finished with that, I just quit for like a month and a half or 2 months or something. And I was just totally overwhelmed. So that was my rock bottom.
Right.
And
the pressure to continue to do well is what you're saying.
It was like a streak. It was like I was on a roll, and every new video that I posted that would get over 100,000 views or whatever, that was sort of my margin, was more added pressure to do well on the next one. Right. And then I was just like overworked. Like every video was just such a big burden. So instead of posting another video, then I was just like, yo, peace out for a minute, boys.
Right.
Like,
You didn't want to let anybody down because they expected so much from you. I get that.
Yeah, and I expected so much from myself.
You thought that they expect. Right, exactly. You kind of created that expectation by doing that, and not even in a bad way. It's just that's the reality of being your own editor and getting into something like that. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I could totally get the stress from expectation. Sometimes it happens to me halfway in through stream. I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst stream ever. Everybody thinks so. and then I'm like, gotta shake it off. And then we're fine and it's whatever. You know?
That's happening to me like 3 times a week. And like the biggest thing I try to remember is that one, I'm almost done. I'm almost done with having to stream every single day. But like two, on the days that I'm having like slower streams or when I'm like, this is just the absolute worst, I try to remind myself in my head, this is a day that when you used to like pay attention to the analytics of what days a week you choose to take off and all of this, this is a day that you would have taken off anyway. You know what I mean? Like randomly on a Tuesday or on a Monday, you know, when people are stressed out from work on something, you're not necessarily going to have the best stream of your life or the streams that you had Friday through Sunday while everyone was home. But no, like it's just, it's happening more and more often where I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, I was like, this isn't a great stream, is it? But to someone it is, you know what I mean? Right. There are people who are there just for you. And they don't, at this point, they don't care if this is the best stream that you've ever had. And not every single stream is going to be the wildest, craziest, most hype moment. And that's a little bit of what I always said to people from the get-go about Twitch that was different than every other social media platform is Twitch isn't a place where you're only showing your best side. Twitch isn't a place where you're putting up the best photo that you took from that day or the highly edited video that you put on YouTube or the tweet draft that you drafted a million times. Like Twitch is like pure, like live, raw, like in the moment. They see you when you're upset. They see you when you win a game. They see you when you lose a game. They see you, you know, like live reacting to what they're saying to you and all of those things. And it's just a very, very genuine experience. And so it doesn't need to always be the most insane, crazy thing for people to still be having fun. And when you realize that it's not always going to be your number one best highlighted video of all time, it's because people are there for genuine interactions with you.
Right, like like your community is there. I think it's such a cool thing to watch grow. And like you said, I always look back to my beginning days and let's say I have a day. I don't ever look at my stats until after streams, and sometimes I'll forget, so even like a day after I'll be like, oh crap, didn't check my stats. And it's kind of a relieving thing because nowadays every time I see it, I'm like, whoa, it's actually better than I thought, because I always expect so much lower because I'm so hard on myself, right? And nowadays I get it's better than I thought. And maybe there are days where I might see a number that's lower than I expect. I try not to have expectations. It's like a huge thing for me. I really try not to, but my brain will do it anyway. You know, it's kind of hard to be thinking about it. But I'll try and think to myself, like, you know, back like a year and a half ago, if I had these numbers, I would be like crying and think it was amazing. Oh, so I would
be ecstatic.
Right. So I always have to think back to those moments, and we can kind of transition to the last part of the episode. I wanted to kind of ask everybody what they were grateful for. So I'm really grateful for that hindsight and being able to experience having growth. You know, some people don't even get to look back and see where they've come, so how far they've come. So I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful for this whole year, like despite how crazy it's been, like in like surrounding us. Like I'm pretty fortunate. I was able to sign to SSG. All of us were able to sign to SSG this year. That was like, I think it feels like 1,000 years ago. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like I've already been part of SSG for at least a year, but it hasn't been a year.
It does.
Just like getting partnered and just finding, I feel like I really found a purpose in my stream career this year. So that was really cool. And also just continuing my relationships with all the new friends that I've made and all the people that I'm continuing to meet. And I wish I could, the one thing I wish for this year is that I could see my family more, but that's just because of outside circumstances. So I always try and remind people to worry about things that are in our control. So I'm just grateful to have so many things that I can control in my life. So yeah. That's what I'm grateful for. What about you, Classy? You don't do these. Wait, do you have a version of Thanksgiving? And you're from Norway,
okay,
right?
so first of all, I'm American. so
Okay.
we might be celebrating Thanksgiving. It's a little bit sort of on and off.
Okay.
But I'm grateful for
Wait, you're
pretty much
American?
everything.
Yeah, wait. I
American?
thought you were from EU.
I'm American, boys and girls.
That
It's
makes
just,
so much sense.
yeah.
I have been sitting here like every week, just being like, he really doesn't have an accent. I
Wait,
don't.
but you live
I've
in
been
Wait,
sitting there
wait.
thinking, you filthy European.
You live in EU,
You
though, right?
liar!
What? No, I live in Norway, all right? I was born and raised
Okay.
in Norway, but I'm American.
Your parents. Well, then, if you're born and raised in Norway, how are you?
I have an American
If you're from Africa,
passport.
why are you white?
Are your parents American?
Wait, no, wait.
Okay,
So wait,
okay.
where do you live right now? Where are you living right now?
Norway.
On the space station, guys, aren't we?
Oh, God. Oh, boy.
So your parents are American, is what you're saying.
My parents are American. I have an American passport.
Gotcha,
I've yet
gotcha.
to get dual citizenship, and
Because you
Yeah.
weren't born in, yeah.
no. Well, yeah. No, well, wait. Anyway, I'm grateful for.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, I'm grateful for most of the stuff that you said, Neato.
For
Holy
sure.
shit. I just freaking. My bad. Yeah, and a few more things. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm getting a puppy. I've always wanted a puppy.
Yee!
I'm getting a
That's
puppy.
right.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I started streaming this year, and that was dope, and it really helped me take my mind off the stresses of YouTube and whatnot. And I think it really contrasts well with YouTube. If you're a streamer, you should do some YouTube. If you're a YouTuber, you should do some streaming, because it really helps
Agreed.
connect with your audience and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I'm grateful for. What are you guys grateful for?
Trihouse.
I'm grateful for nothing. This year's no, I'm just kidding.
Cringe
I'm kidding. Yeah, I know.
Outrageous, man.
No, obviously, like I'm grateful for 2020 has been kind of a travesty of a year in
downer.
general. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But I am grateful that despite that, like myself and a lot of the homies
You still got champion.
have been
dues.
doing. There was wait, what was that? I'm grateful for just like all of us doing pretty well in terms of like despite what kind of year 2020's been, it's been like I'm still able to make podcasts with you guys, like,
Yeah.
and I still have a community that like wants to like watch me every night. So that's and I am grateful for my wife, like constantly putting up with me taking over this corner of our apartment, so
Right.
I can play video games and yell and scream while she's trying to sleep. She's a saint, so I'm great. Yeah, that's what I'm grateful for.
It's been a weird year. I think that's agreed.
Yeah.
Like in a good and bad way, all lumped together
Yeah.
into this craziness. But
I
yeah.
kind of touched on it, last week about how it feels hard to, be super, super happy when you with everything going on, and to be able to celebrate it. But I'm really grateful because despite everything going on this year, it has been the greatest year of my life. It really has. And it, sometimes it's just okay to just say that. I feel like I really found myself this year. It took like getting to, 27 and 28 and all of that to really find myself as a streamer and as a content creator. And I think with the second I did that and I got more comfortable in myself, everything kind of changed. I got to host DreamHack and I got to join SSG with you guys, with some of the like greatest content creators I ever got to know. I got Switch partner.
Oh.
No, like I'm serious. SSG did a really good job of picking content creators, and everyone knows it. Like authentically across the board. No, but like I got to join SSG with you guys. I got Twitch partner. I got to, be, Twitch rival. I got to figure out myself as a streamer. My viewership went a lot different than it used to be. And then every other small thing that we've kind of talked about on all of the playlists, but really like just, I found my community, and I'm grateful that I have a community that sticks around. I'm grateful that I got to start a podcast with my friends and get to know you guys better. And I really look forward to this every single week.
Same.
I really do. Moving to Austin was a really big decision. And, the day this podcast come out will be kind of, and I'm really grateful for what, the day this podcast comes out, I am beyond grateful for what happened yesterday. So yeah, it's been the best year. I got my second puppy. We had the best puppies. I'm in a great relationship with my best friend. I get to hang out and talk to you guys right now. And it's not over yet. It's not over yet. So I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for everything. And I'm grateful for you guys. Shut up.
Right, just send it there. Cuts it off. Well, I was gonna wrap things up. It was a good place to kind of wrap things up. But no, for real, I think Widow said it pretty perfectly. Where it's just been it's been great, and we can celebrate our good fortune and stuff like that, and look on to hopefully a better year, just like for everybody overall. And just thank you guys for coming through and listening to the podcast too. I'm super thankful that we have people that listen to us for an hour every week, which is kind of weird. But we're on episode 9. We're almost 10 episodes into this thing. So thank you guys for supporting us, because if you didn't listen, they probably would have told us to stop doing these by now. So I'm assuming it's going well. So thank you guys so much for listening. As we wrap things up, I'd like to remind you, friends, that you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music, all through anchor.fm/SSG Scuffcast. And from there, you should be able to find our individual socials too, just at SSG Scuffcast. We loved the feedback for the last cast, so please keep it coming always. And thank you guys so much for listening this week. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Yo, yeah.